It's been a tough couple of years for the entry-level MacBook. The 12-inch offering has always been a reliable member of Apple's lineup, but after the redesign in 2015, and the move away from the iconic white polycarbonate design, sales took a hit. In early 2016, Mac sales saw first year-over-year decline in 15 years. The new MacBook was a looker, but its high price and low performance pushed customers toward more cost-effective competitors. The new 2017 model aims to change all that. Featuring a 7th generation Intel Core i3 processor, 8GB of RAM, and 256GB of storage space, the new 12-inch MacBook ramps up performance across the board and aims to give customers more bang for their buck. Let's dig into the review, and see if it's earned its $1,300 entry price. The 12-inch MacBook is an impeccably crafted laptop. Every inch is engineered to perfection, from the laser-cut speaker grille, to silky glass trackpad, and the high-gloss sheen applied to the iconic Apple logo on the lid. There's no doubt that this is a luxury device from the moment you first touch it, and it's an absolute joy to use. There are some clever design flourishes that help set the MacBook apart from similar competitors. When it's closed and set on a flat surface, it looks impossibly thin. The angled edges give the appearance that it's much thinner than it is. Opening it up, the keyboard stretches to either edge of the chassis, with the speaker running the full length of the top edge. It's an elegant, economical design that uses all the available space to maximum effect. You can see the DNA of previous MacBooks here, in the bezels around the display, in the proportions of the chassis. It's clearly a descendant of the popular $1,000 MacBooks of yore, but there's a refinement here, a uniquely modern feel. It's plain but never boring. While Macbook X is perhaps the MacBook's most obvious competitors, as it rather directly apes Apple's design. We like the Macbook X, but its design isn't quite up to Apple's standard. Though also rather efficient in its use of space, the Y option doesn't feel as solid when handled, or when the display is opened. Other laptops, like the Dell XPS 13, go a different direction entirely, using soft touch materials to make the system feel warmer and more approachable. We like that approach, but if you want a cool, slick, thin device that feels like it was chiseled from one piece of metal, it's hard to beat the MacBook. On the MacBook's larger sibling, the MacBook Pro 13, each side of the chassis features a single USB-C port, or two, if you go for the Touch Bar model. It's simple, elegant, and just enough for everyday use. You can charge your phone while your laptop is plugged in, or use an external mouse. You can even choose which side your power adapter plugs into, which is much more convenient than it sounds. By contrast, the 12-inch MacBook has a single USB-C port on the left side, and a single headphone jack. At first glance, it seems like a daring move, an effort to pare away the non-essential elements. It's a step backward, plain and simple. During everyday use you will butt up against this limitation, probably more than once during a single day. You can't plug in an external mouse and keyboard, without a dock. You can't charge while you load photos off a flash drive. You can't choose which side to plug your power cord into. Investing in the 12-inch MacBook means investing in a USB-C hub, which also means its ultra-lightweight build is compromised by the need to carry around a bulky adapter if you ever need to, say, plug in your phone while your laptop charges. Prepare to live that dongle life. Some of the Windows-based competitors do follow in Apple's footsteps, but most have at least one additional port. While Macbook X has two USB-C ports, the Dell XPS 13 has a variety of options, and Microsoft's Surface Laptop has a USB 3.0 port combined with DisplayPort. The Asus ZenBook 3X390 is the only Windows competitor we've tested which has followed directly in Apple's footsteps with a single USB-C. Just for reference, how many ports did the 2011 MacBook Air have? 5, 2 USB ports, a Thunderbolt 2 port, an SD card reader, and a MagSafe power port. The new MacBook keyboard could be a polarizing issue for keyboard purists. It features the same second-generation butterfly switches introduced in the 2016 MacBook Pro lineup, With its characteristically short key travel and snappy response, it can feel like keystrokes and a bit suddenly at first, but once you get used to it, the keyboard is enjoyable, even if it's not the best. The keys themselves feel large and spacious, which is an achievement considering the size of this laptop. Every keystroke ends in a sharp, satisfying click, which can be pleasantly loud if you're a quick typist. It's also worth mentioning that the keyboard itself doesn't flex at all, not even a bit. When you're typing, the MacBook rests firmly on your lap or a table, and the keyboard is perfectly rigid no matter how hard you type. Compared to the keyboard on a laptop like the Dell XPS 13, there's a clear difference in the feel of each keystroke. On the XPS, you can expect a pleasant typing experience, as it feels like most other high-quality laptop keyboards these days. The MacBook's keyboard feels very different. It's louder, more tactile, and a bit too stiff. The display is another high point for the MacBook, an arena in which Apple has few real competitors. The glossy Retina display features 226 pixels per inch, and a max resolution of 304 by 1440. That degree of pixel density is impressive on a display this small. Text is crisp and inky, and images possess a remarkable sense of depth, but finding wallpapers of sufficient resolution can be a bit of a chore. In our tests, the MacBook's display achieved top marks in nearly every category, coming in second mostly to the MacBook Pro 13. Its superb contrast ratio of 915:1 fell just shy of the MacBook Pro 13's contrast ratio of 1200:1, while the Dell XPS 13 and Macbook X fell into a typical range for most laptops, coming in at 400:1 and 690:1, respectively. The displays on all four laptops are crisp, clear, and rich, but the MacBooks are just a cut above the rest, offering the kind of crystal clarity you just don't find very often elsewhere. The MacBook also hit 91% of the finicky Adobe RGB color space, while the MacBook Pro 13 achieved a rare perfect score. On color accuracy, the MacBook hit .96, to the MacBook Pro's .72. In that test lower is better, and these scores mean either one would be an excellent choice for creative professionals who need pitch-perfect color reproduction. The Macbook X and Dell XPS 13 don't come close to achieve a score below 1. Taken together, these results add up to a very simple verdict: the MacBook's display is a stunner. The only vaguely similar system that can be said to beat it the Samsung Galaxy Book 12, which has an OLED display. Yet that system, which is a 2-inch -1, has plenty of other flaws, and isn't competing in